What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi, and welcome back to the Courtside Financial Podcast, the podcast where we talk about business and technology. Thank you all for the well wishes yesterday. Feeling a little bit better today. Still a little under the weather, so keep that in mind. But today we've got a bunch of NIO stories. We're discussing topics on a little bit of every single front. We're talking legal battles, we're talking product victories, we're talking safety victories, and some strategic positioning. All of this is happening all at once. Now, full transparency, I'm bullish on NIO. You guys know I've got skin in the game, but that doesn't mean that we're here to blow sunshine. We're gonna look at the data, the challenges, and what this all means for the EV market. So let's start with something that surprised me, and I don't get surprised too often. NIO just had some pretty stellar results with their Firefly brand in one of China's crash tests, and they really do have the safest compact car. This really tells us everything about how this company thinks about positioning. So NIO's Firefly brand, which is NIO's small car sub-brand, just tied for the highest safety scores in China's CISI evaluation. We're talking G+ ratings across the board for occupant protection, pedestrian protection, and safety assist. And only 3 vehicles have achieved this top tier: the Firefly, NIO's own Onvo L90, and Huawei's backed NIO M9. Now, where it gets interesting from a business perspective, Tesla's Model 3, the vehicle everyone benchmarks against, only scored an M rating for crashworthiness and repair economy. That's significantly lower than what NIO achieved. But here's what Daniel Jin, Firefly's president, said that really caught my attention. Building the safest small cars for global users is the philosophy that Firefly established when defining its product. Notice he said global users, not just China. This is positioning. Think about this strategically. Small cars usually sacrifice on safety due to cost constraints and just physics. You've got less space, less room for safety and tech. But NIO made a conscious decision to over-engineer safety in their smallest and presumably cheapest vehicle. That's not an accident, that's branding. When you're trying to expand globally, safety isn't just a feature, it's credibility. European markets, American markets, they're gonna scrutinize Chinese EVs on safety before anything else. NIO just sent the entire world a message. Our entry-level vehicle exceeds your premium safety standards. Production line adjustments are complete and they're ramping up this week. This timing matters because we're about to see NIO execute what I'm calling a triple product offense. While Firefly is ramping up production, Onvo is preparing to launch their L90 SUV on July 31st. That's tomorrow as I'm recording this. And the 3rd generation ES8 is being spotted in road tests ahead of its fall launch. Let's break down the Onvo L90 to start though, because the numbers here really tell a story. Pre-sales started on July 10th with a starting price of 279,900 Ren. That's about 39,000 US dollars, including the 85 kilowatt hour battery pack. Under their battery as a service model, that drops to 193,900 Ren. Now, Onvo expects this price to reduce even further at official launch. This is a classic Chinese EV strategy. Start high, build demand, then undercut expectation. But here's what's really telling. They've got over 600 vehicles ready for test drive across 400 showrooms in 140 cities. That's not a soft launch, people. That's a full court press. William Li has been posting images of packed showrooms, crowds checking out the Onvo L90 on weekends, and get this, NIO's stock jumped about 40% since the L90 pre-sales began. The market is clearly responding to execution and not promises. But here's what I want to zoom out on for a second. NIO simultaneously launching products across 3 different price points and segments. Firefly for small car urban mobility, Onvo for the mass premium market, and the ES8 refresh for the flagship segment. Plus, they've got the ES9 coming in the first half of 2026. This isn't just about product diversification, this is about market segmentation strategy. They're trying to own every price point while maintaining brand hierarchy. It's ambitious, but it's also risky. Can they execute across all 3 of these fronts without cannibalizing themselves or spreading themselves too thin? Speaking of the ES8, and this is where spy shots get interesting, the 3rd generation model is significantly larger. We're talking 5,280 millimeter length versus 5,099 millimeters for the current generation. The wheelbase increased from 3,070 millimeters to 3,250 millimeters. But here's the strategic insight. One blogger noted that this might not use NIO's top tier tech because they need to hit volume targets, and they've got the ES9 coming out as the true flagship. This tells us that NIO might be thinking like a true automaker, using brand tiers to create a sort of hierarchy and also margin optimization for themselves. Now let's talk about something that reveals the competitive intensity in the market. NIO just hit multiple bloggers with defamation lawsuits. This happened right as Onvo was preparing to launch the Onvo L90. According to NIO's legal departments, a lot of misinformation has appeared online, which seems to be directly attacking the NIO and Onvo brands. One of the bloggers is a prominent Li Auto follower with 440,000 followers, and his response to the lawsuit was basically that he's going to actively defend himself in court. Here's what this tells us about market dynamics. When you're seeing coordinated attacks on your brand right before a major product launch, that suggests that the competition views this launch or your product or your company as truly threatening. No one wastes their resources attacking irrelevant competitors. But here's the broader business question. Is this the right strategic move? Legal action can validate your concerns, but it can also amplify negative attention. What I found super interesting is a comment that I saw from one user. He said, why would people badmouth NIO and Onvo? They're not popular by any measure, not even close to 250,000 annual sales. Was it really worth this blogger's time? But that's actually the point. You're growing fast from a smaller base. You become more of a threat to established players. Li Auto delivered over 376,000 vehicles in 2023. If they see NIO's multi-brand strategy as a significant attack on their market share, those attacks make perfect sense to me. So where does this leave us? Let's connect the dots. NIO's executing a sophisticated multi-brand strategy across 3 different fronts. They're proving that they can build vehicles that exceed safety standards and come in at price points that are positive for consumers. And it's clear that they're generating real demand. Those packed showrooms, those aren't fake. Clearly they're attracting enough competitive attention to warrant pushback as well. But here's the reality check. Execution at this scale is brutally difficult. They're asking consumers to understand and differentiate between Firefly, NIO, and Onvo while maintaining distinct value propositions for each. That's a pretty difficult thing to do. The ES8 refresh creates an interesting challenge too. The current ES8 deliveries were down 29.71% year over year in the first half of 2024, only 3,109 units. If the ES9 is coming as the true flagship, where does that leave the ES8? How do you avoid cannibalizing your own premium sales? But I remain optimistic on NIO because they're thinking systemically. Battery as a service reduces purchase barriers, multi-brand strategy captures different market segments, over-engineering for safety creates global credibility, and moving NIO Day to the fall capitalizes on Q4 sales patterns. These aren't isolated tactical moves, they're well thought out strategical thinking. The question for investors isn't whether NIO can build good cars. The safety ratings already prove that they can't. The question is whether they can execute on this complex multi-brand strategy at scale while maintaining profitability and brand differentiation. Based on what we're seeing, the product ramp ups, the consumer response, the competitive attention, I think that they're right on track. But the real test comes in 18 months when all these products have been on the market. That's a wrap on today's episode about NIO's deep dive, that's a wrap on today's deep dive about NIO's multi-brand strategy. I hope that you guys found this episode useful, insightful, at the very least entertaining. If it was any of those things for you, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, click the like button, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment down below. All your engagement really does help out the channel. Let's grow. Let's get this channel to 9,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Then let's get to 10,000 subscribers. I appreciate everybody tuning in, even sharing the video. That goes a long way. So if you guys can really push this video and help this one out and help it succeed, that's good. There's a lot of people that watch these videos that I post regularly, but you're not subscribed. Subscribing is basically like making giving fuel to the channel for me to be able to put out more videos. It's like making a donation, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So if you're watching this video, please take care of that. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll keep putting out content. We'll see you in the next installment. This is Obi signing off. Goodbye. I hope everyone has a good day.